In this unit we're going to look at creating stairs by the use of the Stair by Component tool. And here's a stair that I've already created, and I'm going to take you through in this unit exactly how to use the tool to create a stair like this. Just before we start, I want to mention a little bit about stairs being a system family as opposed to a component family. I've mentioned this before in relation to walls, but it's such an important concept in Revit. I just want to go over that again. So just like walls, stairs in Revit are what we call a system family. That is, the 3D object itself, the geometry, is created in the system by Revit as you need it. That's fundamentally different to a component family, and I've put a desk in here to give you an example of that. So with a component family, it's very similar to a block in AutoCAD, in so much as you can save this as a separate little file outside of your Revit project. So typical component families can be downloaded from the internet, from manufacturers' websites for example, and you can save them and build up your own external library. Revit families or component families have a .rfa file extension, stands for Revit family, and those are fundamentally different from the system families, which only exist inside each specific project that you create them in. So as I said, walls and stairs, also roofs, ceilings, floors are all examples of system families within Revit. Now we've just said that Revit stairs are system families, and as such we can create different types, an unlimited number of different types. So if I select the stair we've got here, just like our other families in Revit, we can change to a different type down here. Now because it's a system family, the system family names are set here, but the types, which are under the headings here, you can define and you can create additional types as needed. So this one currently is Assemble Stair Private, and all we need to do to create a new system family type is hit the Edit Type button, hit the duplicate. Remember, 99% of the time in Revit you're going to be hitting the duplicate button straight after you've hit the Edit Type button. What you don't want to do is start adjusting the type that you've already got. You want to create a new type based on this existing one. So Edit Type and then duplicate. Choose a different name. Revit will automatically append the existing name with number 2. You can change that to whatever you need it to be, and from there on you can go and adjust all the different parameters for your system family. Within there, a notable set of parameters are these calculation rules. If I hit Edit, this is where you can put in your building regulations calculations. Now this is turned off by default because Revit obviously as a piece of software ships all over the world, and each different country will have its own set of regulations, so this is off by default, but you just need to turn it on and you can then put in your own calculation rules so that as you create your stairs they comply with your own local regulations. So let's go ahead and look at creating a basic stair between two levels in Revit. So to start with, let's get rid of the stair that we've created, and we'll get rid of that desk. So we've just got our basic building shell with the flooring. I'm going to switch to level 0 floor plan, and we'll create a simple straight run stair from level 0 up to level 1. Just show you those two levels there. So level 0 being the base of the wall, level 1 at the top of the wall. So I'm going to create a stair that rises between these levels. Go back to level 0. So the architecture menu, we've got a panel there called circulation, and on there stair. So in this unit we're going to look at stair by component. The next unit we'll look at the stair by sketch separately. So stair by component, I'll leave it on that stair type for now, that will do. Now, in order to create your basic stair, there are 3 parameters really you need to consider initially. The first one being what stair type you want, and we've just said you can have an unlimited number of different stair types if you need to create different ones. So pick your stair type. The other 2 parameters or settings you need to consider are the levels. Where do you want your stair to start from? The base level, so level 0 in this case, and where do you want it to go up to? So the top level is level 1. Revit now has enough information to start creating the stair. And when we talk about stair by component, the components we're referring to are these up here. We can put runs in, we can put landings in, we can put supports in. For the runs we can have different types, straight runs, spirals, doglegs, but for the purpose of this unit we're going to keep it nice and simple. Just going to start off with a simple straight run. So I click in my model. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. Now the important things to note here are when you're creating your stairs in Revit, you'll always start at the base of the stair and work up. So I've clicked at the base of the stair and I'll carefully move my cursor around so you can see what's happening, and that is it's starting to place or define where our run is going to be, and it follows my cursor so I can choose the orientation in plan where I want this stair run to be. I'll just keep it horizontal for now, and notice as I move my cursor to the right, the text underneath the run tells me how many risers I've created and how many are remaining, and that is to satisfy the condition to reach the levels or span between the levels we've stipulated. So Revit's already worked out with this particular stair type to go between level 0 and level 1 in our model it needs 24 risers. So for now I'm just going to do a single straight run stair, and you can see once I go past the end of the run 24 risers are created, 0 remaining, so it's fulfilled the requirement to span between the 2 levels. And I just do a further click to actually place that particular run and hit the green tick to go ahead and complete the operation and create the stair. If I switch to a 3D view, there is our basic stair. Just zoom in a little. You can see it's a fully 3D component, complete with handrails. The thing to note before we move on is that in that operation Revit created the stair run. It also created handrails, but it created these as separate elements in their own right and separate on left to right as well. So you can go and change their types individually or both. You can delete one or both of those handrails if you don't need them. In a separate unit we'll look in depth at handrails in Revit and their creation and manipulation. Very few stairs consist of a single run. Most have an intermediate landing or more than one landing. So I'm going to show you how to add landings or to create your stairs from scratch with landings included. So in order to do so, let's get rid of the one we've just created and start again. So go back to level 0. There's our building. So remember architecture, the circulation panel, stair by component. Remember the component panel up here. Remember, choose your stair type in the properties palette. Remember to check the level settings here, where you want the level to, or the stair to start from and go up to. Okay, level 0 up to level 1. Remember, we're starting at the base of the stair. And I move my cursor. Note that text again, how many risers we're creating, where the cursor is, and how many are remaining to get up to level 1 in this particular case. Now previously we moved our cursor all the way past the end of the run to complete a single run of 24 risers, which went up to level 1. If you want a landing, all you need to do is click inside the run. You decide how many risers you want before the landing starts. So let's go with 5 risers. So I click here. And what Revit does is actually create that first run of stair. Now the job isn't finished yet because we haven't got up to level 1 yet. We've got more risers to add. But what we can do now is put the landing in. Now if you look up on the options bar, there is a tick box there, automatic landing. That's ticked on by default, so we're going to leave that on for now. All we need to do is now click where we want the next run to start from. So let's start from here. And as before, it tells us how many risers we've created in this particular run and how many are remaining to be created to get up to our level 1. Let's put a couple of landings in. And you'll see in a minute when I switch to 3D that what Revit's done is actually joined up those 2 runs with a horizontal landing complete with the handrails. So we're just defining where we want the runs to be and how long each run is, and Revit is filling in the gaps in between with landings. Now the runs don't have to be in a straight line, so you can see can be quite creative with where these runs are. And that's it. I've got all the risers in I need. Revit's created the landings in between. All I need to do now is click the green tick. It finishes the geometry of the stair. I'll switch to a 3D view, and there is our completed stair, complete with landings and handrails. We've already seen how the handrail or railings can be created at the same time as the rest of the stair. In this section of the unit I want to talk a little bit more in depth about the railings. So if we were creating a new stair again, we'd go to Architecture, Stair, Stair by Component, and if we're in Plan, that's where we would actually trace out our runs. But I just wanted to start that command to show you at the end of the menu, tucked away on the far right hand side, that railing button. If I click on that, that's where you control the railing creation process as part of the stair by component. So you can see there, unless we tell it different, it's going to create the default railing at the same time it creates the stairs, and we have a choice whether that railing sits on top of the stringer or the treads. In this stair that we've already created, you can see that the railing is sitting on top of the stringer, this being the stringer, the side supports. If you toggle it to treads, that railing will actually sit inside the stringer on the edge of the treads, so you can control where that railing sits. So I'll cancel that for now, and I'll just cancel back out, which gets us neatly back to the stair we've already created. We saw how the railings are created as separate objects and separate on each side of the stair. So let's go ahead and change that railing to a different type. Now sometimes, depending on the railing type, you will get this warning box that comes up. That basically is warning you that for this particular railing type, the geometry isn't exactly perfect. If I zoom in, you can see scenarios like that where it doesn't quite join up. So it's just warning you that it isn't quite perfect. Just scanning around quickly trying to find other instances where that might happen. There's a good example there where it doesn't quite join. Whether you get that warning box or not depends on the railing type, the profiles that make up these railings, how well Revit can actually join all this geometry together. It actually says in the warning box that most of the time you can actually ignore that warning, because you can imagine a typical, let's say 1 to 50, 1 to 100 sectional elevation, you're not actually going to notice that. It's going to make no difference to your design, but nonetheless Revit does give you a warning about it. So let's go back down to the base of our stair. Now we've said that we can delete either or both of those railings, so let's go ahead now and take off both railings. If we change our mind and we need to add the railings back in, we can simply go to Railing, again on the Architecture menu, and we have an option to place on host. Again, we can toggle whether it's on the stringer or the treads. This time I'll put it back on the treads, and just hover over your model. It will find applicable hosts, i.e. stairs or ramps. So I can go ahead and click, and it adds the railings back in, and you can see this time it's placed them on the edge of the treads and not on the stringers. Now a point worth noting about adding your railings back onto hosts is it only works if you've got no railings on your host at all. What I mean by that is if I take one of the railings off and I go to Railing and place on host, it won't detect that as a valid host because it's already got one railing on. What you need to do is actually get rid of the other railing first, so you've got no railings at all. Now if you go to Railing, place on host, it will detect it and allow you to reinstate both railings at the same time. We very briefly looked at the different stair components at the start of this unit. Let's go back and have a look at those in detail now. So I've deleted all the stairs we had before. Go back to Architecture, Stair, Stair by Component. Leave it on Run. We looked at a basic straight run. We do have full step spirals. So click a start point and set your radius. And there is a spiral stair. Hit the green tick. Again, exactly the same principle in that it creates the railings at the same time. And there is our spiral stair. Let's go back. Stair by component. We've also got center and end defined spiral stairs. Click a start and then click where you want the end of that spiral run to be. Again, green tick to complete the operation and to create the stair. And there is our other spiral. We've also got some predefined winder stairs, L-shaped. And we've also got a dogleg stair. So a variety of different run types there. Just going to come out of there for a second. We can also add in landings manually. So we looked at the automatic addition of landings, but if, for example, you've created a run there, I've turned automatic landing off for this just to show how this works. And so we've put our runs in, we've got no landings. If you switch to landing, and we've got the ability there to pick two runs. So for example, start run at the bottom and the next one, it'll create the landing now, and again that one, and that run creates that landing. And finally, green tick to complete the operation and create the final stair and railings. And there we are. And finally, to complete this unit, we're going to take a look at multi-story stairs. So to this basic model, I've added a number of additional levels. So if I switch to an elevation where we can see all the levels, so rather than just level 0 and level 1, I've now created a number of additional levels up to level 6. The important thing to note is that the distance between all these levels is uniform between each of them. They're the same distance spaced apart vertically between each pair of levels. Very important that they are uniform in their spacing for this multi-story tool to work. So let's go back to level 0. Going to create our stairs by component again, just to finally go over how we do that so you can see it all come together. So remember the architecture menu, the circulation panel, stair, stair by component, pick your stair type. Now for this to work, we just need to define the stairs between our first pair of levels, so level 0 up to level 1. Going to have a straight run, automatic landing on the options bar. So Revit's going to create the landings for us automatically. So let's make the stairs uniform in length of 2 runs. Let's split it. So 12 runs, or 12 risers, sorry, and 12 back the other way. So there is our stair between the first 2 levels. Let's hit the green tick and take a look at the stair. And there it is. But if we want this stair to continue up the height of the building, rather than switch to each of these levels and do that process again, i.e. model all the stairs separately, we can do what is in effect arraying these stairs vertically. So if I go back, select the stair, and you take a look at the properties, there is a parameter there called multi-story top level. It's currently set to none. We've got no multi-story stairs created. Let's take a look at the drop down there, and we've got access to all the levels in our model. So let's go ahead and pick level 6 as the top of the multi-story stair, and you can see instantly Revit erase, in effect, the stair component vertically up the model, stopping at the level that you chose in that drop down box. Really neat little feature if you happen to have a multi-story building where the stairs are uniform all the way up.
And that completes this unit. To get the most out of this training material, please take the complete course online at bimscape.com. Here you will find a complete learning management system that allows you to work through the course at your own pace. Comprehensive written tutorials provide additional information to that found in the training videos. Mark each unit as complete as you finish it and move on to the next. At any point you can return to any of the units you have previously completed to go over the material again. If you'd like to take this course online, please visit www.bimscape.com/Revit for details.